This anime takes place in the future, where dangerous monsters threaten humanity and cause chaos. To combat these monsters, known as the enemy of humanity, special schools are established on deserted islands. These schools gather children with supernatural abilities or talents, and teach and train them to prepare for the upcoming battles. The island provides everything that children need until they graduate, but they are not allowed to contact the outside world. At the beginning of the anime, we meet one of the students, Nakajima Nana-o. He's often bullied by his classmates because they think he doesn't have any special abilities like they do. For instance, one of the bullies, Mugo, has the power to control fire, pyrokinesis, while Nakajima doesn't have any such abilities. Even in the early episodes of the anime, Mugo continues to bully Nakajima in their class. But the bullying stopped when their teacher came into the classroom with two new students. These new students were Onodera Kyoya and Hiragi Nana. Kyoya was mysterious, and when the other students asked about his abilities, he didn't want to talk about them. On the other hand, Nana was cheerful and didn't mind sharing her talents even before anyone asked. Her special ability was reading other people's thoughts. This surprised the students because it's uncomfortable when others can know what you're thinking. Despite that, Nana sat next to Nakajima, and thanks to her mind-reading power, she quickly realized that he was a target for bullying by his classmates. Her suspicions were confirmed when Mugo, who had the ability to control fire, called Nakajima untalented and unfit to fight the enemy of humanity. Surprisingly, Nana decides to stand up for Nakajima against Mugo's bullying. She tries to figure out what Mugo is thinking by using her mind-reading ability. Afterward, she tells everyone that Mugo is bullying Nakajima, just to impress her and ask her out. However, Nana rejects Mugo's advances because she doesn't want to go out with bullies like him. Naturally, Mugo feels embarrassed, especially since their classmates start laughing at him. When the class finally begins, the teacher asks if anyone wants to be the class president. Mugo quickly volunteers because he believes he's the strongest student. There's also Seiya, another student who can control ice, who is interested in the role. Just when the students thought there were only two candidates for class president, Nana surprised everyone by raising her hand and suggesting that they should vote for Nakajima. Her idea didn't sit well with the other two candidates, who believed they were more qualified than Nakajima, who they saw as lacking talent. Then, Kyoya seemed tired of the ongoing debate and proposed that the three candidates settle things with a physical competition to determine the best choice for class president. Seiya and Mugo agreed, and they decided to have a duel the next day. Nakajima wasn't excited about the duel at all. He didn't understand why Nana had suggested him as class president. He became even more confused when Nana asked him to show her around the island after school. But Nakajima was a kind person, so he couldn't say no to her request. So Nakajima gave Nana a tour of the school campus and the island, including the cafeteria. They had lunch together and talked. Nakajima was still curious about Nana's mind-reading ability, and she was happy to explain. Contrary to what most people might think, her ability has a downside. When she's in crowded places like a train, she feels dizzy because she hears everyone's thoughts. Unfortunately, her talent also made it difficult for her to make friends because people were too scared to be around her. After they finished eating, Nana asked Nakajima to take her to a place where they could see the sea. So Nakajima took her to a cliff where there was no one else around. It turned out that Nana wanted a quiet place because she wanted to ask Nakajima about his abilities. She had been suspicious of him from the beginning because she couldn't believe he would be in the academy if he didn't have some special talent. Nana's guess turned out to be correct. Nakajima indeed had a talent, but he had kept it a secret to protect humanity. He didn't want the enemy to find out because they were intelligent too. Moreover, he had heard rumors that the enemy had infiltrated the island. Suddenly, while they were talking, Nana was pushed by a strong wind and almost fell off the cliff. Fortunately, Nakajima was quick to grab her hand and pull her back up. They both wondered why the wind seemed to want to harm her. Meanwhile, in the teacher's room at school, Kyoya was seen going through the students' information and their talents. The homeroom teacher walked in and asked what Kyoya was doing there. Kyoya simply replied that he was trying to gather information about the students. The next day, there was a duel to decide the class leader, but only Mogyo and Seiya joined in. Nakajima decided not to be a candidate because he didn't want to reveal his talent to his classmates. However, things took an unexpected turn. Mogyo couldn't accept losing to Seiya. He got very angry and shot a huge fireball. accidentally putting the other students in danger. In this critical moment, Nakajima had to use his own ability to protect everyone. Amazingly, the fireball disappeared when he intervened. As it turns out, Nakajima's special talent is to cancel or neutralize other people's talents. After Nakajima's brave actions, all the students decided to make him the class president. They believed he was their best and most talented student because he had saved them. At first, Nakajima found it hard to believe, but he was happy to be trusted as their leader. He thought this wouldn't have happened without Nana, so he asked her to go back to the cliff with him to thank her. Nana was impressed by Nakajima's incredible strength when she saw it firsthand. However, she still wondered about the full extent of his power. Could he neutralize her mind-reading ability if they touched? It would be very helpful to her if he could. To test her theory, Nana asked Nakajima to hold her hand. And then, when he did, she suddenly pushed him off the cliff. Nakajima quickly grabbed onto a rope hanging from the cliff to keep himself from falling into the sea. He was puzzled and wondered if Nana had really pushed him off the cliff. After thinking for a moment, he was certain that she had indeed done that. But why? What was the reason behind it? While Nakajima was hanging from the rope, Nana finally confessed that she didn't actually have any special talent. She had been pretending to read minds all this time, just like when they first met. Back then, Nakajima had pretended to read a book without turning the pages, which showed that he was afraid of the people around him. So even without having mind-reading abilities, people could easily see that Nakajima was a target for bullies just by looking at him. When Nakajima heard Nana's explanation, he began to suspect that she might be an enemy pretending to be friendly and trying to harm him. However, Nana denied these accusations. Instead, she claimed that it was the talented individuals who posed a threat to humanity. She revealed that she was an ordinary person sent by the government to eliminate those with special abilities on the island, including Nakajima, who had a high chance of becoming a leader among those with special talents. After saying all of this, Nakajima couldn't hold onto the rope any longer. He lost his grip and fell into the sea a moment later. With that, Nana successfully eliminated her first target, as confirmed by the text message she received. The message stated that Nakajima Nanaho, who could potentially lead the enemies and harm many humans, had passed away. The scene then goes back in time to show that the enemies of humanity aren't the monsters we read about in history books or see in the media. These enemies are actually humans with superpowers, often referred to as talented people. As time passed, more and more children with special abilities were born all over the world, causing chaos and destruction everywhere. Regular people without special abilities couldn't handle this threat, so the government had to create a special police force made up of individuals with superpowers. Unfortunately, these special police officers turned against the government because they felt superior to regular people. This led to a long-lasting war, which was eventually won by those without superpowers, the talentless people. Years after the war, humanity slowly started to recover, but to prevent a repeat of the dark past, the government sent people with special powers to a deserted island, pretending it was a special school. At the same time, they sent secret agents to eliminate those with special powers. The government had to keep this secret because they were afraid that talented individuals might rebel against them. In the current time, the students are having a class by the lake to practice their water fighting skills. These students with special powers were acting like regular teenagers. Some were scared because they couldn't swim, while others were showing off their abilities, like Seiya, who froze the entire lake to display his power. When Nana saw Seiya's powerful abilities, she felt it was necessary to deal with him. His powers were too risky to be left unchecked. So, when they returned to class, she decided to find out more about Seiya's talent. However, while she was trying to gather information from Seiya, there was an argument between Mogyo and another student. The dispute didn't last long because a student who didn't like conflicts intervened and punched Mogyo in the cheek. According to Seiya, that student was Shibusawa, who had the ability to travel through time. Nana thought that Shibusawa's talent was even more dangerous than Seiya's, so she decided to learn more about his abilities. She invited Shibusawa to have lunch together, and without delay, she tested his power by accidentally spilling a glass of water on him. It turned out that Seiya was telling the truth. Shibusawa indeed had the ability to travel through time, proven by the fact that the spilled water went back into the glass. Shibusawa confessed to Nana that he could go back to the past, but only to a certain extent. Nana became very worried when she learned about his power. She was afraid because Shibusawa could discover that she had caused Nakajima's death by going back in time. To make things more complicated, Kiyoya suddenly interrupted their conversation and asked Shibusawa to use his time travel ability to find Nakajima. Nana didn't want that to happen, so she tried to change the subject by saying that Nakajima was absent from school due to illness. But Kiyoya had doubts about that explanation. His dorm room was right next to Nakajima's, and he realized that Nakajima hadn't returned since the previous night. So Kiyoya concluded that Nakajima had vanished. Before he disappeared, Nakajima had been with Nana. Nana realized that she needed to take action to avoid suspicion from others. She recalled the story about enemies infiltrating the island and decided to use it to spread a rumor that Nakajima had been attacked by a monster. To make her story seem more believable, Nana acted like she could read Kiyoya's thoughts and pretended to be scared, as if she had just discovered that he might be a fake pretending to be human. She did a convincing job, which made Shibusawa trust her, especially since Kiyoya suddenly became interested in Nakajima, something he had never shown before. Shibusawa thought there must be something Kiyoya was keeping secret. Still, Shibusawa knew he couldn't find the truth unless he investigated further. So he told Nana that he would use his time travel ability to check Nakajima's room from the previous night and find out what really happened. A little while later, Shibusawa came back to Nana, and what Kiyoya had mentioned was true. Shibusawa found out that Nakajima hadn't returned to his room the previous night. However, time traveling took a lot of Shibusawa's energy. Just going back to the previous night had left him feeling tired. Because of this, he could only go back to that specific time. But Shibusawa wasn't giving up. He suggested that he could still check on Nakajima when he was with Nana at the cliff. However, this was the last thing Nana wanted to hear. She tried to convince Shibusawa not to go, saying he was tired and it would be better to continue the search the next day. But Shibusawa refused. He knew that the longer they waited, the harder it would be to find any clues about Nakajima. In the end, Nana couldn't prevent Shibusawa from traveling back in time. However, luck appeared to be on her side. When he returned to the present, Shibusawa told her that he had found Nakajima on the cliff with her. But he could only watch until the moment when Nakajima and Nana held hands. After that, he ran out of energy and had to come back to the present. In simple terms, Shibusawa didn't witness Nana pushing Nakajima off the cliff. Since Shibusawa had used up all his energy, they had to stop searching for the day. Shibusawa apologized to Nana for suspecting her. However, Nana couldn't take the risk of Shibusawa going back in time the next day. She needed to get rid of him right away. So she went to Shibusawa's room in the middle of the night and told him that she knew what had happened to Nakajima. She said that they were attacked by the enemy of humanity on their way back from the cliff yesterday. Nakajima got seriously hurt, and she didn't want to share this with anyone else. She wanted to spare the other students from being traumatized by seeing Nakajima's terrible condition. But now that she knew Shibusawa could time travel, she asked him to go back and save Nakajima. Shibusawa is a kind person. He follows Nana when she tells him where Nakajima was attacked. Once they arrive, he goes back in time to save Nakajima and bring him back to the present. Unfortunately, Shibusawa didn't realize that Nana had led him to the frozen lake Seiya had created earlier in the morning. Even worse, Shibusawa can't swim. So when he travels back in time, he ends up in the unfrozen lake. Even if he returns to the present, it won't help because he'll freeze to death in the same lake. With this, Nana has managed to eliminate 2 people with special talents. The following day, Kiyoya secretly went to the cliff to investigate Nakajima's disappearance. He didn't find much, just a broken rope and Nakajima's watch. Meanwhile, Nana became more cautious after eliminating 2 students with special talents in the class. However, no one suspected her of being involved in the disappearances. Instead, Mugo and Seiya suspected Kiyoya, who happened to be absent from class at that moment. But Kiyoya soon arrived, looking wet and with a leaf stuck to his head. Despite his odd appearance, Nana still felt that Kiyoya might pose a potential threat. So, during lunchtime, she followed him, hoping to uncover his secrets. However, Kiyoya simply went to a shed in the dormitory to feed a cat with warm milk. Later on, they bumped into each other in the hallway, and this time Nana couldn't ignore the leaf on Kiyoya's head any longer. She mentioned it, and he appreciated her kindness. Unexpectedly, he asked her to be his friend and invited her to his room. In his room, Kiyoya revealed that his main reason for coming to the island was to investigate his sister, who had gone missing 5 years ago. He also mentioned finding Nakajima's watch during his search. Nana became even more convinced that Kyoya needed to be dealt with, and she had a plan. While she was in his room, she discovered that he couldn't smell. The following day, Nana put her plan into action to eliminate Kyoya. She filled the dormitory ship with gas and waited for him to use the stove there to heat up the cat's milk. She knew he wouldn't be able to smell the gas. Her plan worked as expected. When Kyoya lit the stove, it caused an explosion, and the shed burst into flames. Nana then acted like a concerned student, rushing toward the shed, pretending to worry about Kyoya. However, what Nana didn't know was that Kyoya had the ability of immortality, which meant he couldn't die, no matter how she tried to kill him. Kyoya grew suspicious of Nana because she seemed surprised to see him still alive. After all, didn't she have the power to read minds? So why didn't she know about his immortality? Kyoya's suspicions alone weren't enough. He had no evidence that Nana was the one who wanted to harm him, and he couldn't prove that she was responsible for Nakajima and Shibusawa's disappearances. The next day in class, Kyoya talked to the students about the shed explosion and fire. Instead of directly accusing Nana, he said it was the enemy of humanity who tried to harm him the previous day. However, the students didn't believe that there were enemies on the island. Shortly after, the girls in the class became excited. The reason was that Michiru, one of the girls, received a secret love letter, inviting her to meet someone after school. Michiru had the special ability to heal injuries, so even though she was happy about the love letter, she tried to help Nana when she noticed her injured leg. She used her ability by licking Nana's foot. However, every time she used her talent, it shortened her own life. What a sad twist of fate. What's even more unfortunate is that the person who sent the love letter never showed up when Michiru waited for them after school. Instead of the sender, Nana arrived. She revealed that the guy Michiru was waiting for wasn't real, and the love letter was just a mean prank created by her classmates, Kirara and Kaori. Michiru was deeply upset when she realized that the two girls she had thought were her friends had played such a hurtful trick on her. However, she also felt grateful to Nana for telling her the truth about the letter, and she expressed her thanks. While Nana might have identified her next target for elimination, she needed to be more cautious now. Since the shed explosion, Kyoya had become suspicious of her. He even watched her while she was talking to Michiru. Later that night in her room, Nana contemplated how to eliminate Michiru. Michiru had the power to heal herself, so injuring her wouldn't work since she could quickly heal any wounds. The only viable option seemed to be a surprise attack from behind, preventing Michiru from licking her wounds. However, when Nana left her room to go to Michiru's, she was shocked to find Kyoya guarding her door. She questioned why he was in the girls' dormitory, but he had a ready answer. He claimed he was concerned about her safety, fearing she might be attacked by the enemy, so he decided to watch over her. Realizing she couldn't spend the night with Kyoya watching her, Nana turned up the music loudly and escaped through the window. However, Kyoya saw through her ruse, suspecting that she was intentionally using the loud music as a distraction to slip away. He was convinced she was heading to Michiru's room. As expected, Kyoya spotted Nana rushing toward the girl's room, so he trailed behind her. But he was taken aback when he entered Michiru's room. He found Nana lying there with a serious stab wound, while Michiru, next to her, was trying to heal the wound by licking it. The moment she realized that Kyoya had followed her, Nana told him that she had heard the voices of the enemy of humanity heading towards Michiru's room. She was worried they would harm Michiru, so she hurriedly escaped through her window to save her. Nana described the enemy as invisible beings who suddenly attacked her and then vanished. However, it was all a fabricated story. Nana had purposely stabbed herself to divert Kyoya's suspicions away from her. However, Kyoya couldn't let go of his doubts about Nana. If her story was true, why didn't she call for help when she heard those suspicious voices? And why did the supposed enemy flee immediately after injuring her? Why didn't they continue their attack by targeting Kyoya and Michiru? So the next day in class, Kyoya confronted Nana and posed all these questions to her. Yet he lacked concrete evidence that she was lying, and there was no reason for her to confess. Furthermore, the other students had heard about the events from the previous night and believed her story, offering their sympathy. Nana recognized that this was a great chance to gain more support from her classmates, so she put on a fake cry in front of them and started spreading rumors about the enemy of humanity infiltrating the island. She also made sure to imply that the enemy was responsible for Nakajima's death. Nana's acting was so convincing that Michiru suggested to the students that they make Nana the class president. After all, Nana had saved Michiru's life, and they saw her as a brave person who could lead the class. As expected, all the students agreed with Michiru's suggestion. Now that she's the class president, Nana wastes no time in using her authority to instruct Michiru to collect information about the talents of all the students in the class. Innocent Michiru follows her orders without any hesitation. The only person who still has doubts about Nana's innocence is Kyoya, despite his public statement that he no longer suspects her. His actions contradict his words, and he continues to ask many questions, like a detective. He inquires why Nana's wound on her back looks more like it was caused by a sharp object like a knife or an ice pick. If Nana had been attacked by a monster, it wouldn't make sense for them to use such a weapon. Although she resented his behavior, Nana had to acknowledge Kyoya's sharp intuition and deduction skills. So she decided to create a new weapon for her next murder, something that would make it seem like a magical act. She opted for poison needles. Later that night, as Nana headed to the dorms, she was approached by Tsunekichi, a student who claimed to have the ability to see the future. What's more, he could print photos of his future visions. However, the last photo he printed troubled him, so he showed it to Nana. It was indeed concerning because the photo was related to her, and showed that she intended to harm him at 10 o'clock the next night. Nana acted as if she didn't understand and insisted she had no plans to harm Tsunekichi. To prove his ability to predict the future, he took her to the cafeteria. There he explained how he could see the future and stressed that people couldn't change what was destined to happen. He showed her another future photo, this time depicting her ordering noodles in the cafeteria tonight, and the noodles somehow getting stuck on her head. Upon seeing the photo, Nana decided to change her order and pick something other than noodles. However, to her surprise, the events in the photo actually unfolded. The waitress slipped, causing the noodles she was carrying to end up on Nana's head. Nana now genuinely believes that Tsunekichi can truly foresee the future, and whatever he shows in his photos cannot be changed. Tsunekichi, on the other hand, presses Nana to confess why she wants to harm him, even though he claims he's not an enemy of humanity. However, she continues to deny any harmful intent towards him, which prompts Tsunekichi to reveal another photo, one that captures the moment when Nana pushed Nakajima off a cliff. It turns out that Tsunekichi had known about Nana killing Nakajima all along, but he had kept it a secret, waiting for the right moment to use it as leverage. Tonight, he finally saw his chance. Tsunekichi offers not to expose Nana's dark secret if she agrees to be his girlfriend and complies with his wishes. In this difficult situation, Nana feels compelled to comply with his demands. Tsunekichi then led Nana to his room and asked her to give him a back massage. Even though she could potentially harm him while massaging, she decided to hold off for now. Her primary goal was to figure out how Tsunekichi managed to capture future photos. Additionally, she was concerned about attempting anything in the dorms, fearing that she might get caught by other students nearby. So she bided her time, waiting until he fell asleep, all the while brainstorming a plan to eliminate him. It was during this period that she noticed how Tsunekichi was holding his camera while he slept. Sensing something suspicious, Nana examined the camera and discreetly pressed the camera button. As expected, the camera produced future photos, and one of them left her stunned. Nana made a choice to keep that particular photo safe. She then took Tsunekichi's camera out of the dormitory, hoping she could use it to view the future. Unfortunately, she discovered that only Tsunekichi could use the camera to capture future images. When Nana tried to use it, all she got were regular pictures. This revelation helped Nana realize Tsunekichi's method for taking future photos. He saw the future in his dreams and then printed those dream images using the camera. The following day, Tsunekichi realized that his camera had been taken by Nana during the night. He knew this because he usually had 5 future photos, but when he woke up, he only had 4 left. This indicated that someone had secretly taken one of his photos, and the only person who could have done that was Nana. His suspicions were confirmed when he searched Nana's body and found a photo hidden in her clothes pocket. What surprised him even more was that the photo showed Nana, bound by ropes and lifeless. This photo made Tsunekichi believe that he would not die that night. Instead, it was Nana who would meet her demise. So he asked Nana to meet him at the PE shed at 10 p.m. to prove that he was not in danger of dying. However, Tsunekichi's fate was sealed for that night. The photo he discovered in Nana's pocket was a cleverly crafted fake, created by Nana using his camera to deceive him. In reality, The original photo showed Kyoya and Michiru discovering Tsunekichi's lifeless body in the PE shed. This explained Nana's surprise upon seeing the photo the previous night. Having successfully duped Tsunekichi, Nana arrived at the PE shed ahead of him, intending to kill him discreetly. But as Tsunekichi was about to enter the shed, the box containing the poison needles she had prepared accidentally fell, leaving her with no choice but to strangle Tsunekichi with a rope, similar to what was depicted in the initial photo. However, Tsunekichi had come prepared to the shed. He managed to free himself from the ropes around his neck and quickly turned the tables on Nana. But in that critical moment, Nana seized the poisoned needle and thrust it into his arm, causing him to collapse onto the floor. As Tsunekichi faced his impending demise, he was baffled, wondering why he was the one meeting death's embrace instead of Nana. He could only curse his own foolishness as Nana revealed the truth to him. Eventually, he succumbed to the poison coursing through his body, just as the photo had foretold. A while later, Kyoya and Michiru arrived at the shed. They had been searching for Tsunekichi, having failed to locate him in his dormitory. Unfortunately, they were too late to prevent the tragedy. Meanwhile, Nana had a ready-made excuse for her presence in the shed on nights like these. She told Kyoya and Michiru that Tsunekichi had been attacked by the enemy of humanity, and when she arrived at the shed, she discovered his lifeless body. However, Kyoya remained skeptical, particularly after his earlier discovery of the fabricated photo. Additionally, other students had heard from Tsunekichi that he was dating Nana, further fueling Kyoya's suspicions that something was amiss between Tsunekichi and Nana. Nana had foreseen the situation as well. She disclosed that Tsunekichi had taken compromising photos of her and had used them to coerce her into being his girlfriend. If she resisted, he threatened to expose these photos to the entire class. Upon realizing that Nana's explanation made sense, Kyoya reluctantly allowed her to leave. Unbeknownst to him, Nana then went to Tsunekichi's room to retrieve the remaining future photos. However, to her astonishment, one photo was missing. To make matters worse, this missing photo depicted Nana pushing Nakajima off a cliff. Remarkably, Tsunekichi had concealed this photo beneath his uniform, and it was now discovered by Michiru, who was still in the shed. As expected, Michiru chose to show the photo to Nana, feeling the need to inquire about its meaning. This decision, in fact, saved Michiru from Nana's murderous intent. Instead, Nana clarified that Tsunekichi was highly skilled at photo editing, which he used to blackmail other students, just as he had done to her. Michiru believed Nana's explanation, and she agreed to keep the photo she found a secret. The following day, during Tsunekichi's funeral, Kyoya surprised everyone by suggesting they perform an autopsy on Tsunekichi's body. However, just as he was about to open the coffin, Tsunekichi suddenly rose from it, seemingly alive. This surprising resurrection was the result of Shinji's necromancy talent. Witnessing Shinji control a corpse in such a manner, a girl named Yuka scolded him. However, Shinji explained that he did it to uncover the real cause of Tsunekichi's death. So instead of conducting an autopsy, Kyoya could now question Tsunekichi directly. Nana, fearing that her actions might be discovered, does her best to prevent them. She argues that she can hear Tsunekichi's soul screaming, begging them to let him rest in peace. Bringing him back like this would be like torturing his soul. Surprisingly, the students believe Nana and ask Shinji to stop using his necromancy powers on Tsunekichi. As a result, Shinji deactivates his necromancy abilities, and Tsunekichi returns to the coffin. Kyoya also abandons his plan to perform an autopsy on the body. The next day, Nana approaches Yuka to gather information about Shinji, using her role as class president as an excuse to know all the students better. However, she doesn't learn much besides the fact that Shinji rarely attends class and spends a lot of time in his room. Nana becomes suspicious that Yuka is keeping something from her and finds the relationship between Yuka and Shinji peculiar. So she decides to follow Yuka to uncover more details. One night, she witnesses Yuka secretly meeting with Shinji, and it's evident from their interactions that they are dating. Surprisingly, this turns out to be advantageous for Nana, as she now sees an opportunity to eliminate both of them simultaneously. However, just as she is plotting her plan, Kyoya catches her spying on Yuka and Shinji. The next day, during the physical education class, Nana fakes being sick and asks Michiru to escort her to the infirmary. However, as soon as Michiru leaves, Nana sneaks into the boys' dormitory, and uses a poison needle to kill Shinji by injecting it into his neck. On her way back to the infirmary, Nana comes across a cat trapped in a drain, causing her to be delayed in returning. When Kyoya and Michiru finish their physical education class and go to the infirmary to check on Nana, she is no longer there. At this point, Nana isn't overly concerned if Kyoya suspects her. Her priority is saving the trapped cat, so she asks Kyoya and Yuka to help rescue it. Yuka, who mentioned having super strength before, declines, claiming she is allergic to cats. In the end, they didn't need super strength or anything like that. They simply used cat food to lure the cat out of the drain. Later that night, Nana sneaks in Yuka's room with the intention of killing her. However, just as she is about to use the poison needle, she is attacked from behind. Surprisingly, the attacker is Shinji, who was supposed to be dead earlier in the day. It is finally revealed that Yuka is the necromancer, capable of controlling the dead, while Shinji possesses the super strength talent. Shinji had died previously, and now he is essentially a reanimated corpse under Yuka's control. Yuka then reveals to Nana how Shinji died. Before coming to the island, Yuka and Shinji were in a romantic relationship. One day, while they were at the movie theater, a fire broke out, and tragically, Shinji lost his life in the fire. Devastated by Shinji's death, Yuka decided to bring him back as an undead. Thanks to Shinji, she discovered Nana's true nature as a cold-hearted killer. Yuka suspected that Nana was responsible for the deaths of Nakajima and others. When Yuka threatened to expose Nana to the other students, Nana surprisingly confessed to the murders of Nakajima and the others. However, she argued that she was not as cruel as Yuka, because she allowed her victims to rest in peace, while Yuka tampered with their bodies and turned them into zombies. Nana used this information to blackmail Yuka, threatening to report her actions to the other students. Nana was willing to spare Yuka and not attempt to kill her if Yuka promised not to expose her crimes to the other students. Yuka, however, rejected the offer. She believed that Nana didn't grasp her current situation. Yuka had the upper hand, and she felt that Nana had no right to propose a deal. Despite the initial refusal, Nana didn't want to give up. She made one more offer to persuade Yuka. She would share with Yuka what Shinji's thoughts were. Yuka still believed that Nana had the power to read the minds of both the living and the dead, so she asked Shinji to release Nana before revealing his thoughts. Nana complied with her request and claimed that Shinji wished for Yuka's demise. Afterward, Nana quickly fled the scene, leaving Yuka behind, who finally realized that she had fallen for a trick. Furious, Yuka pursued Nana as she made her way toward the mountains. She even reanimated numerous corpses in the vicinity and ordered them to capture Nana. Nana was bewildered by the sheer number of corpses Yuka had resurrected, making her wonder where they all came from. The government that sent her to the island never mentioned the presence of so many corpses. After some contemplation, Nana could only think of two possibilities regarding the presence of so many corpses. Either the previous generation of talented individuals had killed each other, or they had been eliminated by the secret agents sent before Nana's time. Ultimately, Nana managed to escape from the pursuing zombies. When she found herself alone, she pondered how Yuka could control the zombies. She recalled what she had seen in Yuka's room, specifically the items hidden under Yuka's bed. Nana concluded that these items must be belongings of the zombies that Yuka used to control them. Nevertheless, the current situation was still far from safe for Nana to stop running. She continued to flee from the pursuing zombies until she stumbled upon an abandoned hut. Upon spotting the small structure, she suddenly had an idea for escaping Yuka and her zombie followers. Therefore, before seeking refuge in the hut, she made some adjustments to the door. Nana's plan was to stay hidden in the hut until morning. She had observed that Shinji, who never attended school during the day, suggested that zombies couldn't move when exposed to sunlight. So when the sun came up, it would be her opportunity to escape. A little later, Yuka discovered Nana in the hut. However, she didn't want to take any risks by staying there. Dawn was approaching, so she decided to return home with Shinji. She secured the hut's door from the outside before leaving to prevent Nana from escaping. Her intention was to come back to the hut with her zombie followers when darkness fell. Yuka was furious when she discovered that Nana had escaped during her absence when she returned to the hut at night. She immediately commanded her zombie minions to search every corner of the forest for Nana. However, even when the sun had risen, they couldn't locate her. So, with no success, Yuka had to return to the dormitory. As Yuka passed through the dormitory gates with Shinji on her back, Nana suddenly reappeared. Without wasting any time, she pinned Yuka down and began searching for an item that Yuka used to control Shinji. It didn't take Nana long to find it, which happened to be Shinji's school paper. This revealed that in order to control corpses, Yuka needed objects that had been touched by the corpses during their lives. With the paper in her possession, Nana threatens Yuka and forces her to accompany them to the cliff. There, Nana explains how she managed to escape from the locked hut. It was a simple method, she said. Instead of reinforcing the door, she removed the screws from the hinges, allowing her to open the door later. She knew that Yuka wouldn't enter the hut or attempt to break in because the sun was about to rise. Nana had correctly anticipated that Yuka would lock the door from the outside. Upon hearing this explanation, Yuka finally realized that she had been defeated by Nana. She apologized to Nana and promised not to reveal all the crimes Nana had committed. In addition, she returned Nana's poisoned needles to her. Unfortunately, Nana had already made up her mind to kill Yuka. She threw Shinji's test paper into the abyss and then pressured Yuka to reveal the truth about how Shinji had actually died. Nana had noticed an inconsistency in Yuka's story, and her suspicions were confirmed. Yuka had been lying about what happened to Shinji. The real story of Shinji's death was that he had gone to the cinema with another girl, not Yuka. This fact was hard for Yuka to accept because she had liked Shinji since they were children. She became jealous every time she saw him with another girl, and so she made a drastic decision. Yuka confessed that she had set the cinema on fire, which resulted in many people getting trapped inside. Shinji, in a heroic act, had tried to save as many people as he could, but he ultimately perished from exhaustion. Yuka's dark plan had succeeded and Shinji was now gone. She had wanted him to die so she could keep his body forever. Nana remained silent as she heard Yuka's disturbing story. Once Yuka had finished speaking, Nana used a poison needle to kill her, then disposed of her body by throwing it off the cliff. Afterward, Nana encountered Kirara, who was catching a snake. Kirara possessed a unique talent that made her saliva poisonous, and she needed to eat snakes regularly to maintain her ability. Knowing that Kirara was usually seen with her best friend, Kaori, Nana became curious when she saw Kirara alone. She decided to ask Kirara about Kaori. Nana found out that Kirara and Kaori had a strained relationship due to a recent argument. To convince Nana, Kirara showed her their chat, revealing how Kaori had cursed her. Instead of feeling sympathy, Nana saw this as an opportunity to eliminate Kirara. She used her poison needle to kill Kirara by stabbing her in the neck. Afterward, Nana took Kirara's belongings and cell phone, disposing of her body next to the undead that Yuka had controlled earlier. She then sneaked into Kaori's room and poisoned her contact lenses. Later in the school hallways, Nana encountered Kyoya, who asked her about Yuka and Shinji. Unexpectedly, she informed him of Yuka's death and led Kyoya, Michiru, Seiya, and Mugo to the cliff. There, she revealed all of Yuka's secrets to them, but lied about the cause of Yuka's death. Nana claimed that Yuka had taken her own life by jumping off the cliff after realizing her wrongdoing in Shinji's death and body control. With a sorrowful expression, Nana asked Mugo to burn all the corpses around, including those of Shinji and Kirara. At that moment, Kyoya didn't say much and allowed Mugo to burn the corpses. Later, as they returned to the dormitory gates, Kyoya attempted to expose Nana's crimes in front of their friends by highlighting her lack of an alibi during each murder. However, their conversation was abruptly interrupted by a scream from inside the girls' dormitory. It turned out that a student had discovered Kaori dead in her room. Nana acted surprised to see Kaori's lifeless body, even managing a brief smile. She was satisfied with her method of killing this time because it provided her with an alibi. She was with Kyoya and the others when Kaori died. Kyoya became suspicious when he noticed the position of Kaori's hand, which seemed like she was trying to remove her own eyes. He started investigating her death and eventually discovered poison in her contact lens case. This led him to conclude that Kaori had died after putting the poisoned contacts in her eyes. As a result, Kyoya and the others began to suspect Kirara, who had the ability to produce poison and hadn't been seen at school since noon. However, when Kyoya checked Kirara's room, she was nowhere to be found. Instead, he found evidence that she had gone searching for snakes in the mountains. Thinking that chasing her into the mountains might be a waste of time, Kyoya decided to re-examine Kaori's room. There he examined her cell phone and found a text message from Kirara sent at 3 p.m., which was the same time he, Nana, Michiru, and the rest of their group were at the cliff. Kiyoya, upon seeing the message, became convinced that Nana was the killer. He decided to call some of his classmates to explain how he believed Nana had killed Kirara and Kaori. Here's Kiyoya's deduction. In the morning, Nana killed Kirara while she was in the mountains searching for snakes, which is why Kirara hadn't returned. Kiyoya believed they wouldn't find Kirara's body because Nana had burned it along with the zombie corpses that belonged to Yuka. Nana had asked Mugo to burn the corpses to get rid of Kirara's body, which she had hidden among the zombie remains. Then, while they were at the cliff, Nana secretly sent a message to Kaori's cell phone using Kirara's phone, which she had taken after killing her. She did this to divert suspicion away from herself. Kirara's phone is now in Nana's possession. Kiyoya was confident in his theory and searched Nana's body, hoping to find Kirara's phone. However, he couldn't find the phone. Naturally, he couldn't find it because Nana had tied the phone to one of the zombie corpses, which would eventually melt in the sun. As it melted, the remains of flesh on the corpse's finger would press the send button. This would result in the message Nana had prepared on Kirara's phone being sent to Kaori's phone. The other students saw Kiyoya accusing Nana without any proof. They immediately defended her, and Michiru even asked Kiyoya to apologize, which he did reluctantly. Late at night, Nana was sitting outside the dormitory, thinking about disposing of the poison she used to kill Kaori. Unexpectedly, Michiru appeared and surprised her. Nana explained that she was keeping watch in case the enemy of humanity attacked. But Michiru insisted that Nana should take a break, and Nana agreed because she needed some rest. As Nana closed her eyes, Michiru suddenly held a knife to her neck, saying she knew Nana wasn't the mind-reading killer. Michiru didn't believe in Nana's mind-reading ability. Nana, however, managed to disarm Michiru and injured her hand in the process. Just then, two other students emerged from the dormitory and told Michiru to go back inside without mentioning Nana's actions. The next day, Nana took Michiru to the cliff to discuss the previous night's incident. But upon seeing the wound on Michiru's hand, Nana realized that the Michiru she met last night and the one with her now were not the same. The real Michiru would have healed her hand by now. Nana suspected that the person in front of her could transform. Soon after, the figure transformed into a man named Tachibana Jin, who used to be a student on the island. Jin then led Nana to a hidden cave and revealed that he was aware of all the murders she had committed. He had been disguised as a cat all this time, the same cat Kiyoya had taken care of. He explained that 5 years ago, the talented individuals on the island had turned against each other, resulting in a battle to determine the strongest. Jin, thanks to his abilities, was the sole survivor of that incident. Now he showed his true form to Nana because he wanted to propose a partnership. He suspected that the central government had a significant role in the civil war that happened 5 years ago. Jin asked Nana to cooperate with him in investigating this matter. If she refused, he was prepared to kill her. Shortly after, Jin suddenly experienced pain after drinking his coffee, which Nana had secretly poisoned. However, Jin possessed the unique ability to transform into anyone and replicate their talents. When his life was in danger, he transformed into the immortal Kiyoya. Realizing the formidable nature of her opponent, Nana decided to escape. But Jin was determined not to let her get away so easily. This time, he transformed into Mogyo and used his fire ability to attack her. Surprisingly, despite injuring her severely, Jin brought Nana to Michiru's room for her to receive care. When Nana woke up, Michiru was relieved and explained that she had found Nana outside her room the previous night. She had been worried that Nana might have been attacked by the enemy of humanity. Nana, touched by Michiru's concern, shared her feelings about the enemy of humanity. She revealed her hatred towards them because they were responsible for her parents' death. She then recounted a painful memory from her childhood. When she was little, she used to sneak out of her room through the window to buy fruit. One fateful night, she forgot to lock the window, which allowed intruders to enter her home and kill her parents. Nana blamed herself for their deaths ever since. After Nana shared her painful past, Kiyoya approached her and Michiru, asking them to accompany him to a student's room where a crowd had already gathered. They discovered that Ryuji, the room's owner, had been brutally murdered. However, this time, Nana was not the culprit. Taking on the role of a detective, Kiyoya questioned Mugo, who lived next door to Ryuji, about his whereabouts during the murder. Mugo claimed he had been in his room all night, giving lectures to his 3 followers. They'd all confirmed they hadn't heard anything unusual from Ryuji's room. Kyuuya proceeded to interrogate Mugo's 3 followers, asking each of them to demonstrate their talents. The first person had the ability to change his voice, the second could create an astral projection, and the third possessed magnetic powers. Apart from Mugo's 3 henchmen, there was Ryuji's girlfriend, who had discovered his lifeless body. She became the prime suspect, especially after Kyuuya uncovered her talent for controlling elements. When asked to demonstrate her ability, she used the wind to attack Kyuuya. Interestingly, Ryuji's lifeless body was discovered near a wide-open window, allowing the wind to flow freely into his room. Before Kyuuya could continue his investigation, their homeroom teacher interrupted, announcing that the school authorities were on the phone. Kyuuya wanted to report the murders that had occurred at the school to them. Nana and Michiru had to continue the investigation without Kyuuya's help. They found evidence that Ryuji had opened his window not to let the wind in, but because he wanted to escape after realizing he was in danger. Later, when Nana was alone in her room, the homeroom teacher knocked on her door to deliver a new uniform. Nana had asked for a new one because her old uniform was torn during Jin's attack. However, Nana realized that her poison bottle was missing. She had kept it in her old uniform pocket, and it was likely that Michiru had taken it while taking care of her. Before Nana could go to Michiru's room to search for the poison, Kyuuya returned and asked her to help interrogate Ryuji. Unfortunately, the interrogation didn't provide any new information. Ryuji broke down in tears and pleaded with Nana to help her avenge Ryuji's death. After the unsuccessful interrogation, Nana went to Michiru's room to look for the poison bottle. At that time, Michiru wasn't in her room, so Nana had the freedom to search the entire room. Instead of finding the poison, she stumbled upon Michiru's diary. In the diary, Michiru had written about her experiences since she first met Nana in class. She considered Nana her best and most trusted friend at the academy and didn't want to see Nana sad, especially when she shared the story of her parents' death with her. Not long after, Jin suddenly appeared behind Nana, holding her poison bottle. He had taken the bottle from her. While returning the poison to her, he swore to find out who was responsible for making Nana a murderer. Jin also gently scolded Nana for suspecting Michiru of stealing the poison bottle. He believed that Michiru was an innocent and caring girl who treated Nana well. Before leaving, Jin asked Nana to check on Michiru, who had been in the bathroom for a while. Nana opened the bathroom door and found Michiru unconscious in the bathtub. Nana decided to save Michiru. It took her 2 days to take care of Michiru until she finally woke up. Michiru had fainted because she used her powers to help a cat. Jin had brought an injured cat to Michiru and asked her to save it. Michiru saved the cat but overexerted herself, causing her to faint while taking a bath. At the same time, Jin discovered a dead rabbit with a neck wound similar to the one the cat Michiru had saved had. The person responsible for injuring the rabbit was still nearby, and Jin confronted them. He knew this person was Ryuji's killer and didn't care about their next target after Ryuji. He simply urged them to stop hurting and killing innocent animals. The scene then shifted to the central government office, where the committee instructed Nana's mentor, Tsuruoka, to go to the island. However, his mission was not to save the talented individuals, but to expedite the process of eliminating them. Back on the island, Michiru was gradually recovering. This reminded Nana that she had spent a lot of time taking care of Michiru and needed to get back to her mission of eliminating the students. She had already chosen her next target, Ryuji. As Nana was preparing to leave, Michiru asked her to stay a bit longer. Nana appeared upset at this request. She couldn't sympathize with Michiru's desire for her company. If her superiors discovered that she had been caring for Michiru instead of carrying out her mission, they would surely kill her. In this situation, Nana preferred Michiru's death over her own. Before proceeding with the plan to kill Michiru, Nana wanted to understand why Michiru had been so kind to her and had even healed her wounds multiple times. Michiru revealed that she had a close friend who had passed away due to cancer. Since then, she had carried the regret of not being able to do anything to save her best friend, as her healing ability could only mend external wounds and not cure deadly diseases like cancer. Michiru's desire to help Nana stemmed from her determination to prevent the loss of any more friends and her willingness to use her abilities to aid them. Hearing Michiru's story touched Nana deeply, causing her to hesitate about going through with her plan to kill her. Michiru visited Nana in her room because she had been troubled by thoughts about Nana's parents' death. Nana had previously mentioned that she used to sneak out of her room after playing. This made Michiru wonder if her room remained messy when Nana returned. Upon hearing Michiru's question, Nana recalled that her room was actually neat when she woke up the next day. This realization led her to understand that her parents must have cleaned her room while she was asleep and secured her bedroom window. This suggested that they might have been killed by a burglar who had broken into their home. This revelation left Nana in shock, but Michiru comforted her by hugging her and asking her not to blame herself for her parents' death or feel responsible for it. Nana made up her mind not to kill Michiru, especially after learning about her past. Instead, their friendship deepened, and they exchanged gifts, sharing happy moments together as best friends. However, that night, Jin approached Nana and warned her that Michiru might be in danger. He had seen Michiru heading toward the beach and asked her where she was going while disguised as Mogo. Michiru mentioned that someone had requested to meet her there, raising concerns about her safety. Nana became worried about Michiru and went outside to search for her. While she was on her way, she received a call from Tsuruka, who scolded her for not completing her mission. He ordered her to kill all the students on the island, including Michiru. Meanwhile, Michiru encountered the killer, and he began attacking her. Just as the assassin was about to strike the final blow, Nana arrived in the nick of time to protect Michiru. However, Nana herself was injured by the killer's attack. Nana recognized the assassin as the same person who had killed Ryuji. It was one of Mugo's henchmen with the talent of astral projection, named Rentaro. In his spirit form, Rentaro continued to attack Nana while she tried to protect Michiru. Nana realized that she couldn't keep Michiru safe indefinitely, so she resorted to insulting Michiru, hoping to make her angry enough to leave. Her plan worked, and despite Michiru's initial reluctance, she eventually ran away after Nana pretended she never considered her a friend and had just been using her. Seeing Michiru leave, Rentaro planned to finish off Nana so he could go after Michiru. However, he suddenly felt pain in his neck, as if he were being strangled. To understand what happened to him, we need to go back to a moment before Nana went searching for Michiru. At that moment, Nana encountered Kyoya and informed him that the killer was Rentaro. While searching for Michiru, she asked Kyoya to locate Rentaro's physical body and stop him. After a while of searching, Kyoya eventually located Rentaro's real body, hiding in a restroom stall. He decided to strangle Rentaro to force his astral body back into his physical form, simultaneously saving Nana. Unfortunately, he was slightly late, and Nana had sustained severe injuries. She realized she was dying and thoughts of her deceased parents crossed her mind. However, she could leave this world with a smile because she had finally found a friend she had never had before. As Nana lay on the ground, gasping for her last breath, Michiru suddenly came back and used her healing powers to mend Nana's wounds. However, Nana's injuries were extremely severe, and healing them depleted all of Michiru's energy. Ultimately, Michiru succeeded in saving Nana, but sacrificed her own life in the process. The series concludes with a poignant scene of Nana embracing Michiru, shedding tears to the loss of the only friend she had ever known. So the moral of the story is always carry extra poison needles, because you never know when you'll need to fake your own death to avoid doing your homework.